Hey y'all, I want to talk to you today about a churchism, which remember a churchism is we're defining it as something that might be partially true, or completely false that we believe about the church. And one of those things that I want to talk to you today, I think it's really important, is the topic of prayer. Often we're told to just pray. It doesn't matter what you pray, just pray. And whereas it's true that it's a good thing to pray and it's a good thing to get in the habit of prayer, even Jesus talked about the fact that there are some prayers that are what I'm going to coin as pointless prayers. In the Sermon on the Mount, he says, and when you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. And then he says, pray like this, and he teaches the Sermon on the Mount. The Sermon on the Mount. He teaches the Lord's Prayer. Sorry about that. But he teaches the Lord's Prayer. So there's a very easy temptation for us to feel good about the fact that, man, I spent 20 minutes in prayer today, or I spent an hour in prayer today. Um, but but the question is, how effective were your prayers? How pointed were your prayers? Often we pray repetitive prayers. I recently read a book on prayer and it mentioned a man who was praying in the church, and as he was praying, a little boy started praying along with him, and it was verbatim, just wrote what the man was saying. He was saying at the same time, and what he realized is that he just prayed the same thing over and over and over again, the same words over and over and over again. If we did that with any other relationship in our lives, it wouldn't be productive or healthy or helpful. The second thing is that our prayers are often general. We use words like bless or watch over or be with. Lord, just bless my family. Watch over my children. Be with my wife. Again, there's nothing wrong with those words, but they're so general that they really don't have any meaning. The reality is that God, who is omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient, he already watches over his children. He already is with those who know him. He already does those things in a more specific way, but we pray in such a general way that it really has no meaning. And so not only are our prayers general, but they're often shallow. They deal with superficialities. They don't deal with the reality of the depth of the relationship that we have with God and the eternal implications that we need to deal with, that we need to understand. Lord, just help my son to go to church. Well, that's a good thing. And that's not pointless, but it's not as deep as it could be. Why? Because if my son doesn't know the Lord, then he needs to come to a point of salvation first. That's the most important thing. See, often we pray for superficialities where we overlook the most important thing. And so I want to give you a few just things to think about in your prayers. Number one, share your heart with the Lord. Pour your heart out to him. I think of Hannah when she was childless, and she goes to the temple and she's pouring her heart out to the Lord, so much so that she's accused of being drunken. And she's like, "No, I'm not drunk. I'm just overwhelmed with a broken heart before the Lord." Are we that way with the Lord? Do we pour our hearts out to him? Do we share our heart's desire? Do we share our troubles and our difficulties and our hardships, but also our victories and our joys? Share your heart with him. Why? Because Christianity is a relationship, and a relationship comes from sharing intimately with the other person in the relationship. I think about your marriage. If all you ever said to one another was, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, I'm fine." "How are you?" "Oh, I'm fine." That's not a formula for intimacy. "How was your day?" "It was good." "No, how was your day?" "Well, let me tell you about it. It was tough. Man, my boss yelled at me and things didn't go well, and somebody cut me off in traffic, and I looked at our bank account and we don't have enough money to pay the bills, and that's a real relationship. That's a real intimate relationship. And that's what prayer is. It's sharing our heart with the Lord. Number two, not only share your heart, but be specific. It's very easy for us to be general in our prayers, because if we're specific, that means that we're putting ourselves out on the line. We're saying we really believe that God is going to do this thing. It's easy to say, "Lord, bless my family." How do you want him to bless your family? How do you want him to bless your children? "Lord, I'm asking you to take my wife's cancer away. Lord, I'm asking you to give my son a job. Lord, I'm asking you to be with my daughter in her job and give her a better relationship with her boss or with her coworkers. Heal this relationship that she has with her best friend that's become difficult or strained." You see the difference between those two prayers? One's very general, and you can't really tell whether it's been answered or not. The other is very specific, and it's very measurable. "Lord, bless my church." Okay, well, we want that. "Lord, help my church to double in size this year." Ooh, that's totally different. That's measurable. That puts me out on the line. That puts me out on the limb saying, I believe that God can do this. And that leads me to my third piece of advice. Pray big prayers. Pray things that if they're going to get done, only God can do them. Pray big prayers. Pray prayers that are beyond your imagination. Pray prayers that are beyond your ability. Pray prayers that if they're going to get done, only God can do them. Now, I want you to understand these three pieces of advice with this one warning. Understand that prayer is not just a menu that you order from. Prayer is not some list of demands that you make to God that He is obligated to answer in the way that you ask them. Prayer is you sharing your heart and coming before God. And when you do, He will answer you. Sometimes He says yes, sometimes He says no, sometimes He says not right now, but maybe later. But whatever it is, it will be the best thing for you and for your life. There's no failure in prayer. So stop being afraid to pray specific, big prayers as you share your heart with God. Because there's no failure. There's no missing the mark. Because it's about your relationship with Him. And that's the bottom line. So when you pray, think about whether you're praying pointless prayers or not. God bless you.